Today we are going to discuss about the norma frontalis or the splanchocranium. Now this is just a summary of the previous classes because we have already read about the individual bones. The facial skeleton or the norma frontalis, it comprises of the following parts. Look at the board. This is the forehead, orbits, malar prominences, anterior nasal aperture, upper jaw and lower jaw. These are the 6 components. Now we are going to discuss one by one. First come to the forehead. Now forehead, you see, it is mostly formed by the squamous part of the frontal bone and part of nasal bones also. These are the nasal bones, and this you know, this is the squamous part of the frontal bone. So first is the nasion. Nasion is what? It is nothing but the line of interaction or the line of intersection between the frontal and the nasal bone. So this is the nasion or the frontonasal suture. These are the two supraorbital margins. At this supraorbital margin, the orbital part of the frontal bone, it goes backwards and it forms the roof of the orbital cavity. Next is, just above this nasion, we will find the glabella. These are the two superciliary arches. They are more prominent in case of males. Here on this forehead, these are the two prominent frontal tuber or eminences. They are more prominent in case of children and in case of females. Sometimes here you will not see the two frontal bones, they remain separate and they later unite by a suture that is known as metopic suture. Next come to the orbit. Now these are the two orbital cavities which lodge the eyeball, some important muscles, vessels, nerves, connective tissue, etc. Now this orbital margin, it is mostly formed by 3 bones. 1/3 part by the frontal bone, 1/3 part by the zygomatic bone and 1/3 part by the maxilla. Now there are 4 margins of the orbit. This is the supraorbital margin. This is the medial margin. This is the infraorbital margin and this is the lateral margin. Now come to the supraorbital margin. You see, if you feel it with hands, you will see that the medial 1/3, this part is sharp, but the lateral 2/3 part, the medial 1/3 is smooth or rounded and the lateral 2/3, it is sharp. Then at the junction of this medial 1/3 and lateral 2/3, we will find one notch. This is known as the supraorbital notch, transmitting the supraorbital vessels and nerves. This margin is contributed by both frontal and part of the frontal process of zygomatic also. These are the two lateral margins, mostly formed by the two zygomatic bones, frontal processes. This blue colored area, you see, this is the frontozygomatic suture. Frontozygomatic suture. This is the infraorbital margin, mostly formed by the maxilla. Medial to this supraorbital margin, you will find the supratrochlear notch, transmitting the supratrochlear vessels and nerves. 1 centimeter below this infraorbital margin, you will find the infraorbital foramen, transmitting the infraorbital vessels and nerves. These are, these are not part of norma frontalis, still I am showing you. This is superior orbital fissure, this one, retort shaped or flush shaped, this one, and this is inferior orbital fissure. Next come to the third component, that is the malar prominences or the cheek. cheek part. It is mostly formed by the zygomatic bone, and there are three surfaces. This is the lateral or the facial surface. There are presence of small minute foramina. These are zygomaticofacial foramina. Next, this is the orbital surface forming part of floor and lateral wall of the orbital cavity, and this is the temporal surface. This part, this is the temporal surface forming the anterior boundary of temporal and infratemporal fossa. Then these are the two processes. This is the frontal process and this is the zygomatic process. Zygomatic process, it articulates with what? The zygomatic process of the temporal bone, and this is the zygomatic arch. Now this upper border of the zygomatic arch, if we trace above, we find one line. This is known as temporal line. This is known as temporal line. The lower border of this zygomatic arch, if we trace it below and in front, it ends in a ridge at the junction of upper second molar tooth. So this is temporal line, this is, and this lower margin is ending in a ridge. Next, fourth component is the anterior nasal aperture. This is pyriform, you see. This is pyriform in shape, and the bones forming, you see, it is mostly formed by, in the midline you will find these are the two nasal bones. In the middle part, these are the frontal process of the maxilla, and in the midline they end here and they form the anterior nasal spine. This is the nasal septum. The anterior part is mostly formed by cartilage, and this is the posterior part where it is formed mostly by the perpendicular plate of ethmoid and vomer. On the lateral margins you will find some concha, superior, middle and the inferior nasal concha, these. The underlying part below is known as meatus. So this is about the anterior nasal aperture. Next is the upper jaw, that is this part bearing the teeth. It is the maxilla mostly, and here you see this is the body of the maxilla, and there are four processes. One is frontal process articulating with the frontal bone above, in the medially with the nasal bone and laterally with the lacrimal bone. Next, this is the zygomatic process. These are the alveolar processes, and this is the palatine process of the maxilla. There are also the surfaces. This is the anterior surface bearing the infraorbital foramina transmitting the vessels and nerves. You will find here the canine eminence formed by the root of the canine teeth. Medially is the incisive fossa and laterally is the canine fossa. This is the orbital surface forming mostly the floor of the orbit. This is the nasal surface or medial surface forming the lateral wall of the nasal cavity. In disarticulated skull you can see the maxillary hiatus, and this is the posterior surface forming the anterior boundary of the pterygopalatine and infratemporal fossa, which we will read in detail later. So this is about the upper jaw, and the last part is the lower jaw, this one. It is mostly formed by the mandible. Mandible, it has got a body, and these are the two broad and oblong rami. So here you see that this is the upper margin or the alveoli, this is the base. On the anterior surface, this triangular area is the mental protuberance. This is the mental vessels transmitting the nerves and the mental foramen transmitting the vessels and nerves. This is the anterior oblique line. Posteriorly, what we will find? We will find this is the mylohyoid groove, mylohyoid line. This one is the mylohyoid line, and this is the mylohyoid groove. This is the superior and the inferior genial tubercles. This is sublingual fossa. This is submandibular fossa. Next, come to the lower border. This one you see. These are the digastric fossae. Come to the broad and oblong rami. Here there are attachment of 4 important muscles of mastication. The external surface there is attachment of masseter. This is the condylar process and this is the coronoid process. Coronoid process is occupied by the temporalis muscle. Here in the internal surface of the rami, this posterior inferior part is occupied by the medial pterygoid. This part, anteromedial part of the condylar head, is occupied by the lateral pterygoid. This is the mandibular foramen transmitting the inferior alveolar vessels and nerves. The posterior border is overlapped by the parotid gland. These are the important features of the lower jaw mandible. Now see here in this diagram, here we will see that basically this norma frontalis, we will find